Hello, friends. This is another devotional topic, and here I'm going to talk about two articles. So, let's begin with the first one, which is Choose Forgiveness. We live in a society which uses ruthless power to succeed. We glorify individualism and the instinct for self preservation. The act of forgiveness is often regarded as a weakness, even a sign of cowardice. We are told repeatedly, fight for your rights, do not yield to anyone. There are two sources of power and strength. One of them is vested in those who hate, those who are not afraid to kill, hurt, wound, maim, and destroy. The other is vested in those who are not afraid to love, forgive, heal, and reconcile. Yes, we must be unafraid to love, for it requires courage. Equally, it takes courage to forgive. True, it is that forgiveness is not a sign of weakness nor naivety. It requires courage and clarity. The act of forgiveness holds great power, not just spiritual power, but the kind of power no one can despise. It asserts your self worth. It reveals your inner strength and establishes your ability to forgive. So, far from leaving you weak and vulnerable, forgiveness can empower you to lead a more meaningful life. It brings conflicts and struggles to a positive ending, for it helps us to overcome the cycle of resentment and revenge and enter the realms of unity, peace, and harmony. More importantly, each act of forgiveness inspires others to do the same, setting off a positive chain reaction. Once, thieves entered the ashram of Sri Ramana Maharshi at night. They thought they would find lots of money and expensive objects, for the Maharshi had several wealthy followers who visited him frequently. But to their anger and dismay, they found practically nothing worth stealing. Suddenly, they entered an inner chamber where they came upon the Maharshi in deep meditation. Rudely, they accosted him, demanding that he tell them where the money and valuables were kept. Getting no response from him, the men began to attack him. A few disciples, who had been awakened by the commotion, rushed into the Maharshi's room and were appalled by the sight that met their eyes. As for the thieves, they took to their heels and fled from the ashram in no time. Incensed by the injury inflicted on their beloved Guru, the disciples seized sticks and stones and whatever they could lay their hands on, and decided to pursue the miscreants. Do not go after them, said the Maharshi. Pause and reflect for a minute. If your teeth bite your tongue, do you knock them off? The disciples learned the profound spiritual lesson that all of us, all human beings, are linked in a cosmic chain of being. Where then is there room for anger and resentment when others are a part of us and everyone is a part of a great cosmic whole? Many people ask me, how can I forgive someone who keeps on hurting me? At one time or another, I feel like retaliating. There is a proverb which says, whoever opts for vengeance should dig two graves. An unforgiving attitude is deadly. It destroys the offender and the offended. On the other hand, forgiveness is the key to peace and happiness. There is a rational and practical need for us to forgive. When we have been hurt, ill treated, or injured by someone, we can choose either to retaliate or to forgive and forget. If we choose to retaliate, we will allow ourselves to be consumed by resentment, for revenge does not leave us happy. It leaves us feeling empty and embittered. Has anyone ever heard of anger being satisfied? But forgiveness always allows us to put an end to unpleasantness and get on with the act of living in peace. Forgiveness is a beautiful quality. It relieves your mind of the burden of reacting negatively to the other person's actions, grudges, and misconduct towards you. You can release that tension through the divine quality of forgiveness. Forgiveness will create a tranquil space within your mind, allowing the spirit to grow in that feeling of lightness. Forgiveness makes you kind. It gives you inner beauty. It makes you glow without and illumines you within. It transforms all those who are touched by it. Now let's move on to the second article. The- as the lines blur between home, Anjali Hazarika writes of the need to learn how to respond to our emotions. It is titled Between Ease and Disease. What lies between ease and disease? A host of factors, including the potent world of emotions. Research in the mind body field tells us that just as genes, environmental pollutants, disease agents, and bad diets are factors causing illness, our mind and emotions can also play a critical role in illness and in health. Psychological factors influence the immune system and can contribute to risk or recovery from disease. The important factor in illness is not stress per se, but how we cope with stress. This depends in large part on our personalities. Our emotions play a big role in stress management, our relationships, and in maintaining a healthy body. Emotions are rarely expressed in words, hence, many people are at a complete loss in reading how the other person is feeling, or they are confused about their own feelings. Many of us tend to replace or thrust aside painful thoughts, feelings, and emotions. But do you know what we ignore, repress, or fight with returns as a symptom in time? Have you noticed how our headaches reflect tension at work? Our heart palpitations indicate that we are exhausted from taking on too many responsibilities, and our ulcers reflect our lack of ability in accepting life changes. The ACE factor. Based on the research of system psychologist Gary Schwartz, the ACE factor has shown the people who are tuned to body mind signals of discomfort, pain, fatigue, distress, anger, sadness, and pleasure cope better psychologically, have a better immune system, and a healthier cardiovascular system. Typically, these people handle stressful events with acceptance and a willingness to learn and grow. This is important now, as boundaries between work and family are getting blurred with work from home practices. Anger caused by a work related issue creeps into personal space, and frustrations at home can enter into workspace, coming in the way of productivity. This is where developing the ACE factor will come handy. ACE is short for attention, connection, expression. Paying attention to uncomfortable feelings, connecting with and assessing the intensity of feelings, and expressing feelings in a regulated way. Those of us who tend to ignore and not attend to symptoms, disconnect with sensations and feelings, and bottle up emotions tend to suffer outgoing imbalances in our body mind systems and lead to lack of ease. Emotions serve as a biofeedback mechanism. For instance, if a high strung executive pays attention to his distress, he would recognize his amplified emotions fatigue, overwork, hypertension, restlessness, and physical discomfort, leading to emotional outbursts. Then he might do something about the conditions that cause him disease. Connecting with an emotion can bring many dividends. Emotions move us, but when we attend, connect, and express, we make the best use of our internal compass. We can then rely upon the guidance of our feedback and choose alternatives in terms of diet, exercise, and meditation. Basic mindfulness is necessary for generating a balance, order, and power in our immune system. So, the best cure for the body is a quiet mind.